Hey everybody, well welcome back to the continuing saga of what happened to that swarm. Well, in the famous words of Jeff Horchoff, aka Mr. Ed, well folks, it ain't there anymore. Yeah, the swarm has taken off. You can see that some bees working some comb they left behind, though they were here long enough to leave some comb. And there was actually, looked like some nectar inside the comb when they were last here. But where did they go? Well, this box is the one that's at the underneath, almost underneath the deck here at the house. And as you can probably already see, we've got a lot of activity here at the entrance. So they did move up in the world, albeit just a couple inches, but I believe they have moved into this swarm box here. Pretty sure of that because I see bees coming in with pollen in their baskets. So that's always good news when you see them coming in with pollen. That means they're pretty well situated inside of the box. So we're going to let them sit here for a week or two, probably a couple of weeks. I do have it full of drawn out comb frames, so they should be getting to it here pretty quick. And I'm sure that they've already polished up some cells and the queen's probably already laying. So we'll come back in a week or two, like I said, and take this box and move it to another bee yard somewhere. This will be a pretty easy move, as my upcoming video for swarm boxes, swarm traps, and will show. But you can see I got the entrance disc there. I've got another one on the side. It's open for ventilation right now, and it should be an easy move. So there, I think we did catch them, and I'm happy we have. So now, how's the other hive out in the apiary doing? Need to go check on that one, see what's going on in that hive, how many bees are left behind, etc. But this appeared to be a pretty good group of bees here that came in here. Hey everybody, welcome back to the continuing saga of the bee swarm. Well, I'm at one of my swarm boxes out here, aka swarm trap, although I don't think it's aptly named because it's not really a trap. You know, they don't go in and can't get out. They can come and go as they please. So I'm just going to call it a swarm box. Try and get it out of my system to call them swarm traps, but I'll slip up. I'm sure I will. But as you can see on the tree behind me, the birch tree back here, I've got a swarm box here. I think we've previously shown that one. And boy, there's a lot of activity coming in and out of this box here. Now, it could be robbing, or it could be a swarm moved in here. When I set the boxes up pretty quick, I threw in a lot of drawn out comb and also a couple frames of honey just to try and entice them in. And so I don't know, maybe it is robbing of those combs of honey, maybe not. But let's give you a little closer look at them here. I'm glad I have this on a stick, the camera that is, so my arm isn't that close, but anyway, you can see a lot of, but these bees appear to be fairly nervous. I don't know, they seem to be shaking a lot. I did see one bee go in with some pollen. It could have been a fluke, a bee out, smelled something, came over here. But they all seem to be a little jittery as they're coming in and out of there. So I wonder if it is just some robbing going on of the honey up there. But last night, or before sunset, I came out and I could see a lot of activity in front of the hive here. Almost looked like it was orientation flights, but it could be just that the robber bees couldn't figure out where to get in, and they finally figured it out, and here they are now. But I don't know. So we'll be watching this box. The other box I originally intended to have them go in, that's on the ground over there still. And had some frames of honey in there too, so there's activity in the front of that also. But I don't know. When I go look at the box up by the house, oh, there's a drone there. I don't know if that's curious, because you really wouldn't expect a drone to be going in and out of a hive robbing situation. So maybe we got a swarm in there or another swarm. Maybe I had a couple swarms here, never know. But there you go. So we'll let this sit for a while and come back check, because once the honey is gone, if they're truly robbing it, once the honey's gone in a day or two, there probably won't be any activity here. If there's still activity after a few days, we'll assume that we caught another swarm in here. Well, here we are back at the box I really originally intended for them to go into. And a lot of activity here too, so that could be more robbing. In fact, it kind of looks like it. I see little flecks of wax, and it looks a little, what do you want to say, wet on the entryways. So I have a feeling this is being robbed here. I did stand here for a while and watch. I did not see any pollen coming in here. I don't know. Interesting, but I think this is being robbed out here from the frames of honey I threw in here to hopefully entice them into this box. Well, here we are in the apiary, checking it out, and a lot of activity here. Not as much on hive number 1 here, so I wonder if this was a swarm. Hive number 2 is very active over here, which leads me to believe I better get in there and throw some boxes on top quick. Actually, I really need to move this box down to Holyoke, and then we'll put some supers on, and before they decide they need to swarm also. Anyway, these two positions, 1 and 2, hives 1 and 2 here, were both carniolans, and carniolans have a tendency to want to swarm. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I'm not swarming no matter what, and 10 being well, it's getting a little tight in here, even though we have a lot of extra space, I'm swarming. So carniolans are kind of somewhere in the middle at 4 or 5 as far as their need to swarm. So we'll see. We'll have to bump this up a bit. I've got another couple busy days here. I'm going to be tied up most of this coming Saturday. It's Thursday right now. Tomorrow will be in preparation for what's going on Saturday. So perhaps Sunday. Oh, there's some pollen coming in there. Nice bright yellow stuff. And a drone sitting there about ready to take off. That's good news. If I've got swarms going on, I'm glad to see the drones out there and helping work things out. But a lot of activity on number 2 here. Number 3, hardly anything going on there. Remember, that was the weak one. So I wonder if maybe they absconded. I don't know. Let's go around behind here, and rather than walk in front of that massive amount of bees there, I'll just sit here now. So here's hive number 3. They've got some activity going in and out. Still some sawdust coming out there. That's not wax cappings, that's sawdust on the landing launch pad. But so that was the really weak one. Maybe I see I never opened up the vents here. That's because I still think they're pretty weak, but let's give them a little ventilation because it's getting to be our hot time of year here, and don't want them to really sweat too much here. So we'll put this around, and I'll have to go over and do the other one. And here's hive number 7, the one I thought maybe had swarmed, but my goodness, we got a bunch of activity here. And not much activity down here on the landing launch pad, but you go up to that entrance there's some going in and out. But the second box up here, box deep number 2, they are just going in and out like crazy there. So that's good. Glad to see a lot of activity in there. So we're going to have to open that up and get a feel for that too. That one's also destined to go down to Holyoke. I wasn't too sure how to do it. Maybe they're no longer, because I'm not so sure that'll fit in my truck, the back end, that tall of a box. Maybe they're not using the bottom box anymore, and I can get them out of that bottom box and get them up into 2 boxes before I move them. That would help dramatically. One of these days I'll get a trailer so I can haul this stuff around without problem. All right, that's pretty much it for a recap on what's going on here at the apiary here at Windy Ridge on July 13th of 2023. There we go. I'll give them some ventilation up there. Hello everybody. Welcome back to Windy Ridge Apiaries. And today is July 30th. It's Sunday. It's about 11:45 in the morning, and 74 degrees today. Very, very nice day out here. Low humidity. Although the sun's not quite out right now, it's behind a cloud. We got some nice puffy cumulus clouds up there. Gorgeous day. You can probably see them. Where is it? Right about there in the background here. Well, I thought I'd give you an update on the swarm, or swarms, as I think it may be. I'll be taking these swarm boxes and hopefully, weather dependent, hopefully moving them down to Holyoke tomorrow. And before we do that, I want to give you an update on where we're at. So, once again, we're up at the swarm box here near the house, underneath the deck. And we still have activity up here, although it's not a whole bunch, but there is still a bunch of activity here. Okay, so they're not too active, but there's at least some bees going in and out there. There they go. Thank you, girls, for rescuing me there. And so we do have some bees in there. I took a look in their box about a week ago, and a lot of the frames had bees on them, and they were going through over the comb. I don't know if they were just what they were doing, if they were cleaning off the cells and getting ready to put stuff in, or for a queen to lay, whatever. And here comes the sun. And I'm really curious to see if there's actually a queen in this box, or if it's just some bees, workers that, because of the swarm, moved in here, and then the other swarm left. Remember, they were hanging underneath here, and they were in the box and missed the boat, or missed the swarm taking off again, or whatever. So I'll be curious. Once I get it down to Holyoke, we'll take a look inside and look for evidence of a queen in there. If I don't see a queen in there, I'm going to try and I'll probably take the bees that are in this box and shake them into the other swarm box that I have out here on the mound. So speaking of that, let's take a trip out to the mound. All right, we're out in the mound right now and taking a look at the box I put out here that I took the swarm and I shook them into it, and there's absolutely no no activity at this box anymore. So pretty sure nothing's in there. And yeah, last week I also opened up the top here and took a look inside. There were a couple bees in there, but nothing of significance. So I think it's safe to say that this box is empty. I can now take all that comb in there and reuse that in another location. In fact, I'm thinking I might have to put a box on the other hive we're about to show you here once we get it down to Holyoke, because they're booming. Speaking of that, let's head over to the next one. And here we are at the Birch Tree Swarm Box. A lot more activity here. They seem to be going in and out a bunch, and just watched for a few seconds. Didn't really see anything coming in. Well, there came a couple of girls in with some pollen, so I'd say they're pretty well established here. So again, this is July 30th. As of tomorrow, Monday, it will have been 3 weeks since that swarm started. I think I'm pretty safe now to take the swarm boxes down and move them somewhere else, let them get acquainted with Holyoke. And I did not move the other boxes out of Windy Ridge, the two carniolans and the end box down there, which I think probably had the swarm or swarms, because I really wanted to keep some hives in the area here, because whatever swarmed, that means whatever box or boxes hives swarmed, that means I now have some virgin queens that need to be mated. So I needed to ensure that we had drones in the area that were going to be able to mate with the virgin queens. And that should have happened long ago by now, and I think it's safe to take and move everything down to Holyoke. So we'll give you a close-up here of the activity up here on these girls. I seem to be in their flyway a little bit here. They're buzzing around behind the camera, but I'll be out of your way here pretty soon, girls. Or that they're just curious of what's this thing here, or they can, I don't know, maybe they can see the heat that it's generating. Unknown, but anyway, there's a fair amount of girls coming in, and we'll just let them do their thing here. And tonight I'll come out. If the weather forecast looks good, I'll close up this. I shouldn't say close it up. I'm going to move it over to the ventilation so that we'll still get plenty of airflow through there. Then tomorrow morning we'll head out with these swarm boxes, and maybe even those two carniolan boxes back there, and head down to Holyoke and install them there in bee yard number 1. Well, we're about to dig into hive number 3 here. This was one of these swarms. Here's a drone larvae. I don't see any sort of mite activity on there. This was one of the swarms, or the swarm up at Windy Ridge. And this was the one that was hanging out on the birch tree, that swarm box I had out there on the birch tree. So curious to see what it looks like inside of here. Again, this was very heavy when I pulled it off, and thankfully it didn't crash and burn off of off the ladder there. But so I don't have any inner cover here or anything else. In fact,
fact, what I need to do is I need to get this box moved just temporarily. In fact, I'm not sure why I didn't think of this before, but I should leave this ratchet strap on here just as a safety mechanism, because when I move it, last thing you really want is cover or something to slip off and away everything goes. So all right, so I'm going to move this box. Oh, that's right. Can't really do that yet either because it's strapped around the bottom board down there. So all right, I'll make up my mind here eventually, but if I can get that off of there, that bottom board, I'll just reroute that quick so that I can just have it wrapped totally around the swarm box itself and not under that 2x4 that's on part of the frame we're sitting on here. Not always easier said than done here. Okay. All right, we're back. As I bumped the tripod a few times, sorry about that. Let's see if this thing's even recording yet. Oh, it is. Amazing. Okay, now the strap is totally around just the swarm box. And I should be able to pick this up with not a whole lot of ease because it's very heavy. And I'll try and move it over to another position just temporarily until I get the bottom board, the new bottom board in place. Again, this is the swarm box, and let's see if I can lift by this. Yes, I can. And there's going to be some bees wondering what happened to my box, but just temporarily. I have a feeling by this time of day, most of the foragers, oh, there's a bunch of bees building up already. And I will put this entrance open in. I'm just putting in the single wide here entrance reducer, and now the boxes, and I will go over this again when I do the swarm box, but this should be a relatively easy move. I'm going to take the strap off now and just take the deep box and lift that up, move it over to our new box there. So here we go. Attempt to do that. Nope. I'm going to need, somebody's been busy propylizing things. You need something to break those boxes apart here. So imagine they're not going to be too happy with me disturbing the piece like this. So let's try that one more time. There we go. All right. It's pretty darn heavy, so we're going to just temporarily set that down there. Oh my, they've got a bunch of riser comb that they have built. So, okay, well, I'm going to have to contend with that a little bit because now it's not sitting flat. Huh, interesting. Well, I wanted to give them a good amount of time so they could get established, and here they are established. So, all right, off comes the cover. And I do not have an inner cover for these boxes. And we'll see that they are very active here. In fact, I'm going to leave that inner cover near the front here. They are in good shape. All right, going to tip this up, and we're going to have to get that, walk it back a little bit, and clean off all the comb down here. Now you talk about some sort of Japanese symbol or katakana or whatever. That could be it. Wow. That's so very interesting. I'm seeing what looks to be probably drone. Maybe some brood. Well, I'm going to say this is drone up here. Maybe some brood. I don't know, worker brood. But I think when I set it down, I squished these, and there's going to be some not so happy bees in there. So I'm going to have to take this Katakana off here. A lot of milk down here that they that when I set it down, it squeezed out of these. And they're not going to be very happy with me at all here. So get ready for, yeah, I already got one biting me. They're stinging. Trying to, at least. Wow, granted, I haven't been at this for very many years, but I've never seen them do something like that before. It's amazing. There's I think that's brood. That's worker brood, and so they're being creative and giving themselves some more room to get some more brood by doing that. Very interesting. All right, I'm going to grab this chunk here. Again, take a quick look at there. I don't see any activity as far as mites go. Wow. This is not at all what I expected to see. I can't even officially call it wonky comb because it actually makes sense. They needed more space for brood, so they tried to fill up underneath the comb between the bottom of the frames here and the bottom board of the swarm box. Wow. Well, they came in as a swarm ready to do work, and they have done a lot of work. We'll definitely be giving them another box here real soon. All right, almost all done cleaning up that. A couple more pieces over here that I don't want to leave that comb out where other animals are attracted to it. So yeah, that almost looked like Japanese katakana. Or some sort of, anybody knows Japanese, tell me what they were trying to tell me. Maybe it was a symbol for give me more space or something. Okay, that's pretty well cleaned up now. Try and set this box back down again. Excuse me. All right, girls, here we go. I'm gonna get my knee in there so I can leverage against something here. Slowly walk this heavy box back. Get that entrance where it should be here. There. All right, I'm gonna have to go around the front and fix that entrance. Imagine that, there's a bunch of bees out here. It's like, what are you guys doing to me here? But I put that particular entrance reducer in that was over on this side because that's where the entrance was for the bottom board on that swarm box. Get him off of that because that goes home with me. And they're doing well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I'm going to throw another box on, but I'm going to cut this down to 9 frames and then take one of those frames and move it up, just like we've done every time we've added others. And I'll be right back with the next box here. All right, we got the box down here. I took a middle frame out there. That middle frame, as you can see up here, chock full of bees. And open it up so there were 9 frames now down in that bottom box. And now up here we've got 10 frames up here. But this frame looked pretty good. Let's see if I can pull that out of here without causing too much concern. But we had some brood in there, and there's some nectar in there too, but they got a lot of pollen next to the brood and a lot of honey reserves there, so that's looking good. And this side there's also some brood here. Got some brood around there, and there's some empty spaces here, and I'm seeing over here some real young larvae and also some eggs right in through here. So that queen is still laying, and I know they won't abandon this one, so we'll put this one back in carefully. I did check to see if the queen was on that frame earlier and did not see her there. So that was a good frame to move up to this top box. Now the top box would be the second deep for the swarm. And did not see the queen, like I said. And I guess it really doesn't matter. We know she's there if I saw eggs in there and larvae, and the way that they got brood in there. That brood wasn't there before in that swarm box, and it is now. So we know she's working hard. Okay, put those all together because I got 10 frames up here. And time to close them up and strap them up here and move on to the next one, which ought to be very interesting. And that's the one that is up by the house. Really didn't show any signs of strength, but no, we'll see. Okay. Excuse me, girls. And maybe before I do that, I just noticed the bottom board for the swarm box is still here. Still got a few bees in here. So we're going to just say welcome to your new home like this. Well, I took care of them. Put that over here with the top cover I have for the swarm boxes. That's a much better scenario. All right, now we'll put this on. Excuse me, young lady, girl, look out. And one of these telescoping covers that I've brought with today. This one, that looks like it's, well, it looks like it's been used before. It almost looks brand new. I don't see any marks or scars from the ratchet straps or tarnishing or anything, so maybe it is unused as of yet. Now I got to get that ratchet strap back down and around again, and no need to sit here and watch me do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the last hive here, not even sure if I can call it a hive, but it's the this was the swarm box that was up by the house under the deck there, and very curious what we're going to find in here. So I'm gonna not even gonna bother try moving it yet. It was so light before that I think it'll be easy to move around. This is, of course, also is strapped in under the 2x4 on the rack, so just get that out of the way, and we'll take a peek in the top here, see how many bees we do have in here. Not too impressive. I don't see any stores being brought in. I see some comb that was original that I'd put in there. Looks like they have cleaned up things a bit, so let's take a look in here, and I think I'll start. Well, tell you what, let me just take this off and put it over on the new bottom board here, and then I can get things moved around a little bit easier. So I'm going to take this box, move it over to the end over here. You probably heard that. You weren't too excited about me moving them. We'll put the new bottom board here, if we're even going to use it. Sorry, I keep hitting that tripod leg there. And now I'm going to try and move that box off here. Make sure I got the vent hole to the front, and then move it over to this box. No problem with any comb underneath like the last one. At least I didn't feel any. Let's check it out. Not much. There's some here, but that'll easily come off. That could have been leftovers that I forgot to take off of here too. I was in a hurry that day, and it was hurry up, and get things done, and I know I missed a few things. All right, we'll put that back on here. You can hear that they're excitable, which leads me to believe I don't think we have a queen in here. They're hopelessly queenless. So I'm going to pull out a frame. The middle here doesn't look like it has much for comb on it. We've got some nectar they're putting in the deeper cells there. There's not much in there. There's some nectar down here, but I don't see any effort to try and draw out any new frame. Let's look at one that has a little more comb on it here. Nectar coming in. And some pollen. No sign of eggs anywhere. Of course, I went to the middle first try here just on purpose. And I am not seeing any eggs or larvae. We should have seen some by now on this point in there. It's been almost 3.5 weeks, something like that. So since that swarm, I'm seeing a little more nectar coming in here. No eggs. So this tells me what I suspected all along, that these bees, when they were sitting under, remember that video, they were sitting under the box, this box that was under the deck, and that there were bees going in and out all the time into this box. But then when the queen decided, or the whole hive decided, the colony I should say, decided to take off, they took off and left a bunch of bees in the box that they were sitting on. So I'm beginning to think that they are queenless. I'm quite sure. I haven't seen a single egg, no young larvae, no capped brood like we saw over the next one over here. So they are hopelessly queenless. And eventually their numbers will die out. They'll dwindle down to nothing, and the box will become empty as the bees get older and die off. And so I am tempted to open up this box over here again, shake these bees. Well, tell you what, I don't want to really shake them in the box, but what I'll do is I'll shake them out in front of the hives here, and they can, they're all going to be foragers or able to fly because it's been long enough. There hasn't been any new brood in here. I'll shake them out, and then they can find a hive to their liking. And I'll just on purpose though shake them out mostly in front of the swarm right here. That way they will they'll be able to find a new home on their own here. Not a single egg or anything in here. But this this comb I'm looking through here looks pretty darn good. It's going to be good comb for another swarm or two that we've got brewing. So when I put on second boxes, that'll be good comb for that. All right, well, I might as well do it. This is going to cause quite a stir with the bees, and let's see if we can capture some of that up here on on the camera. I did just find some drone brood, so looks like they had a laying worker. Not much. Let me get that back there. Well, there you go. I have shaken all of the frames, shaken out the covers, bottom board, And you can see they're still pretty well tied into where the hive used to be here, down in that area. But hopefully they will make friends here pretty soon with this hive and migrate in there and help them out. The original colony they were with, and the original queen and all that. So here's hoping that they do that before sunset here. I got to go home, and I got a premiere tonight. So tonight's premiere is, imagine this, Swarm. So, and hope to see you there. Hi everybody. Welcome back. We're now down at Holyoke, bee yard number 1. And you can hear some of the neighbors are out testing out some of their ammunition to see if it works. Hopefully it doesn't fly off this way here, but okay, well, just thought I'd give a quick recap of what happened yesterday. If you'll recall, yesterday I came through and to hives number 1 and 2 here added another deep on to each of those, as they looked pretty full in both of them. And this hive that I'm leaning on right here in position number 3 was, if you'll recall, the swarm from Windy Ridge. And the swarm I put through, remember the interesting comb we found on the bottom of the box, and also put another deep on top of here. The other swarm box that I had here that was up by the deck on the house, and remember there's no eggs, nothing in there, maybe a little bit of drones, which means there could have been a laying worker in there for a little bit. And that seems to have worked, because yesterday, before I left here, I was watching the bees out here. They'd all started to congregate down near where on the 2x4 frame here where their old hive was, and eventually I saw them start the march, just like a regular march on you would see on a swarm going into a box. I saw them start to march up, and I don't know if they went in here, but there were a lot of bees that had bearded on the outside, so I think eventually they probably did go in. And as before, they had been without a queen for probably close to 3 weeks, and I'm sure the other bees inside of this colony, this hive here, accepted them without any problems. So hopefully they're out doing some good here. There's a lot of activity, as you can probably see along the front of all the hives here, and things seem to be going well at this point. Thank you for watching this episode from Windy Ridge Apiaries. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on any newly posted videos. And at your discretion, please leave a comment below. And until next time, do a good day.